Hi, this is Matt from Challenger Stories. I'm here with Anna from Anna Fiorentini Performing Arts School with an absolutely fascinating story about her background and this amazing place is doing. Anna, tell me about your business, tell me about the organization, and tell me something about you.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for having me on. A bit of background about myself. I always wanted to be an actress from a little girl. I did my A levels, my degree, and then my postgraduate. So obviously, I trained as an actress, but I always worried that there wasn't anything of professional nature in my local area when I was a child growing up. So I really wanted something professional, part-time for children in the local area. So that's what gave me the initial idea of opening up a performing arts school. I went to the Prince's Trust. They helped me with a business plan. So essentially, I started off at the Prince's Trust business. That was 23 years ago. So
Wow.
I'm feeling old now. But yes, it's I look back now and I'm like, wow, how did I do that at the age of 28? But I'm proud of myself, I'm proud of my team and what we've managed to achieve. So essentially, the business is called the Fiorentini Performing Arts School, and it comprises of four entities. So there's the Anna Fiorentini Theatre and Film School, which is for 4 to 18-year-olds. There's the Stage in the City, which is after work performing art classes and team building events for adults that want to have fun. And then there's the charitable arm, the Fiorentini Foundation, which basically raises money for bursaries and scholarships for children that can't afford to come to the school. That's my main passion. One of the ethoses behind the school was to give real professionalism to children that wouldn't necessarily be able to afford it. And then there's the Fiorentini and Mossen Theatrical Agency, which gets our students leading roles on TV, film, and the West End stage.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
they all kind of fit together.
it definitely does. One of the reasons I was really keen on speaking to you was, this is Challenger Stories. So this is about from startups to becoming market leaders and everything that goes in between that. You have challenges and you bring challenges into what you do. So what I mean by that is you haven't chosen the easy route. You've driven the business through passion, through wanting to help people who are less fortunate do something which you absolutely adore. And you are spreading that through your community. You're doing something really positive for the community and helping launch careers. So you're helping launch those challenges into the world. How much satisfaction does that give you?
Yeah, it's amazing satisfaction. I mean, I never had any business coaching initially. I trained as an actress. I didn't train as a businesswoman. So yeah, it was. I think one of the main one stories that I really love to tell is, for example, we gave a free place to a child who couldn't afford to come to the school. And then within 3 or 4 months, we got him the role of Fletcher in the West End's The Bodyguard, playing Beverly Knight's son, Fletcher. And to me, I mean, as much as we launched the careers of many children, when it was one of our children who was on a scholarship and wouldn't have been able to afford that place otherwise and have this wonderful opportunity, something like that really makes me cry with happiness.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, we went to see
yeah,
him in the show. His family was sat behind me. They'd never been to the theatre before, the majority of them, and they were seeing their son, their adorable son, on stage with a standing ovation from the audience who don't know him personally. So there wasn't any reason for them to give him standing ovation. And that's just one of many stories that I have. So as much as I love launching the careers of our children, it's especially great when I know we wouldn't have had this opportunity if we didn't have our charitable arm and if we didn't weren't able to give free places occasionally.
yeah. And one of the aspects of your organization, your business that I really like is the fact that you are driving commercial opportunity for the people that come through the performing arts school, but you're also doing that for corporates and organizations with things like team building. Is that correct?
That's right. We've had quite a few team building reviews from people like Expedia, Pret a Manger, West, where we go in and work with their teams. And it can be a variety of things. It could be a really fun musical theatre afternoon, getting them out of their comfort zone. Or it could be acting for confidence if they want to build up their employees so that they feel confident in the boardroom. And I think it's all great for building confidence, building empathy, building bonds within their team. And the nice thing is for them, for the corps, is that all profit goes to our charitable arm. So they're not only are they investing in their own team, they're supporting their CSR policy. We don't even have to be, it would be lovely to be their charity of the year, but we don't have to be their charity of the year because they could do this and fulfill two things at once, a win-win solution.
Yeah, that's a fantastic thing, because you're bringing commercial opportunity for the people that are coming through the school. You're doing something for the community, and you're doing something for business that's going to benefit those. So absolutely fantastic. What's your background? What made you get into it in the first place? Because I sense there's something a little bit more than you just wanting to become an actress.
Like, I wanted to become an actress, I think, at the age of 6, when I got the leading role of the ugly duckling in the pantomime, The Ugly Duckling. But what I think happened is all my dreams were geared towards becoming an actress. All my hard work, my GCSEs, my A-levels, my degree, everything I did was towards becoming an actress. To get an equity card, which was really important in those days, not so much now, but back then you had to have an equity card. If you didn't have an equity card, you couldn't get professional work. You couldn't get professional work unless you had an equity card. So it was a vicious circle. So I managed to go to one of the top drama schools in the country, which gives you a provisional equity card. And I auditioned. I think there were like 2,500 people auditioning. They only had 20 places. I managed to get a place. Yeah. But then I found out I had to raise £10,000 to do this postgraduate. Now, back then, I didn't come from a family with money. My dad's an actor, so no money. My mum had given up work to look after me. So very supportive parents, but not rich parents. And I just finished my degree, so I was already in debt. I'm like, but I only had a year to raise £10,000 or I would lose my place and then have to re-audition. And the likelihood of me getting a place again with 2,500 people was very unlikely. So I think for the first time ever, I had to learn some skills I didn't realize I had. So I had to do some fundraising skills. I wrote to lots of celebrities. Anthony Hopkins gave me £2,000.
Wow.
I started giving piano lessons, and then I started a little drama club, which basically paid my rent while I was doing, doing all these things. I was charging £3. I had about 30, 40 children that were coming to me every Saturday. I was probably breaking every health and safety rule back then because I didn't know what I was doing, but the children loved coming. I could see what they were out of it. So I think at that point, I hadn't really thought about business. I hadn't really thought about investing in younger people until that point. So I must have been about 21. No, 19, yeah, I just finished my degree, about 21, 22. And I think having that fulfillment of seeing what this could do for young people was amazing. And yeah, I look back now and I realize that in my 20s, nothing would have come in the way of my acting career. Not other jobs, not boyfriends, not social life. I had all of those. I enjoyed all of those, but they weren't my main focus. Nothing would have come in the way of my career. Whereas now my school is my baby. And even though I am still an actress, it's not the end of the world if I don't get work. I'm not like as devastated as what I was in my 20s. For me, my passion is my baby, is my school, and seeing how we impact the lives of all the people that we touch. And interesting, I set up stage in the city, the adult branch, purely to raise funds for my charity. We do after work performing arts classes throughout London, singing, dance, musical theatre, and again, all profits go to my charity. And I did it, to bond with adults and raise money for the charity. But interestingly enough, so many adults come up to me at the end of the course and say, do you know what? I suffered from anxiety, lack of confidence, all these things that I didn't realise, and then realise what an impact the performing arts have on the lives of adults, not just children. In fact, even more so, because I think as we get older, we have even more inhibitions. So I can't remember what the question was, but I'm sure I've answered it somewhere.
We were talking about your background and what I was my question was around the fact that you actually have a very interesting backstory. This isn't you're not someone born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You've really pushed forward out of a passion, and then you've turned your passion into a business. The other part of this, which through previous discussions with you, I found really interesting, was the fact that actually you've garnered quite a few accolades for the business, for the organization. I understand you've won a number of awards. Is that right?
Yeah, thanks to the support of my team and my students and families. So this year, for example, we won the Community Business of the Year award for the London Chamber of Commerce. I've also just won the Great British Businesswoman's Social Enterprise of the Year. So there's a couple that come to mind. I have one, a few others. Excuse me. So again, that's down to the team that I have behind us and the support that we've had. So yeah, very grateful for all of that.
Do you think when you look back, the greater reward that you've had is seeing that lad on stage getting a standing ovation or receiving the accolades? How did that feel? How do they compare?
Like I said, I mean, we've had some great accolades. So, for example, when I first opened the agency, we got Belinda Owusu a 5-year contract on EastEnders, for example. She then went on to be a leading role in Holby City. She's now a fully fledged actress as an adult. We gave a free place to Jermaine Jackman, and within a few months, he went on and he won The Voice UK 2014.
Wow.
We've had one of my favorite stories as well is with little Taj. I say little Taj Miles because he started with us at the age of 7, and we got him the role of Simba in The Lion King. We then got him in Matilda and a few other West shows. He then went on to see BBC. Now he's one of the leading roles, Marlon in Death in Paradise, as an adult actor now.
Oh,
So
okay.
again, it's lovely when I see them. Yeah, when I see them grow with us.
Yeah.
Orla Hill, we got her the leading role in the British feature film Song for Marion, playing Vanessa Redgrave and Terence Stamp's grandchild. So she was the leading child in that. We then got her a leading role in the feature film Swallows and Almonds. And again, she's now an actress doing really, really well. She's at Cambridge as well. So we've got some great, we've also got children who don't go into the performing arts, but they really say how much we impacted their confidence and their self-belief from a young age. So some of them have gone on to become lawyers or doctors or working in PR. And, we had a lovely little video sent to us a couple of years ago for our 21st anniversary, full of like alumni saying how much we've impacted their lives even now. So that made me cry.
And
that was really nice. It isn't just about.
It's a brilliant thing,
Yes,
right?
it's not just yes.
You're touching lives.
Precisely.
Yeah,
and it shouldn't just be about those that want to make it in the industry. Yeah, and it's not about. I would say only a small percentage of our students are part of the agency. We don't push that at all. Initially, I didn't even want to start an agency. That's not what we were about. We're about developing confidence, self-esteem, transferable life skills. So that is my main thing to push. Just so happens I've got a lot of talented students. So casting directors know they know that we've got a very diverse range of students as well. So like you said, it's not just privileged middle class students, a mixture from every background.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating when I go for funding bids, because normally with funding bids, you have to segregate. You have to say you're providing a project for just one segment of society, and I so disagree with that. I'm so like, no, the performing arts should be diverse and we should be getting everybody to work together. So you shouldn't just have a project for Black children, or just have a project for Turkish boys, or just have a project for poor children. You need a project that encompasses everyone, so they learn to work together and support each other from a young age.
Yeah.
So this is why I've almost not given up, but I don't rely on grants, because it's so difficult to get grants and funding when you're a professional stage school and you're incorporating everyone. This is why I do it via the charity.
Right, I get it. Okay, so there's a couple of big names in the stage school space. You guys are planning to grow and expand your offering, well, not your offering necessarily, but where you are. Well, tell me about your growth plans. How are you getting up getting up towards being a market leader? Because you are in many ways, you're already there, but what's your growth journey looking like at the moment?
So interestingly enough, I was on a growth course last week and it really opened my eyes. So at the moment, we're a small business. We've got a £500,000 turnover. The charity raised about 30,000 a year for bursaries and scholarships. And I hadn't really thought about growing so much bigger because you want to keep the quality of what you're doing. And if I open too many branches throughout London, then I'm not able to see what the quality is. And I do find we've got a great reputation in the industry with casting directors. We've also got a great reputation amongst families. Um, I'm finding for myself that I'm very much working in the business a lot of the time rather than on the business. And I think what's opened my eyes last week is that I need to either get a business loan, an investment in business, so that I can bring in a couple more staff to help us. And then I could double or triple our impact of what we're having, whilst also keeping the quality, which for me is more important. So
Yeah.
whereas before I've been reluctant to really grow, I'm actually thinking actually this could really help my team. Because at the moment there's only four of us working full time, and we're achieving all of this, but we are feeling a little burnt out with the amount of work that we're doing. But if I can bring in a salesperson to help us outreach, and not really a salesperson, a communication engagement officer,
Yeah.
and bring in somebody to run all my events for because at the moment I'm doing all the events for the charity as well. Yeah, it's all time consuming, but if I've got somebody I can delegate these things to, like the world is our oyster.
Yes, indeed. I think many business owners who are running businesses the size of your business at the moment, I often point them at a book called The E-Myth, which was one of the first business books I read, and it's a game changer. You read that and you realize that actually the thing that you just said about working on the business and not in the business, it's the most important thing as a business owner. Your job, your role is to develop the business. It's not to work inside it. And there's a real tension with when you're a small business that you have to wear so many different hats. So let's talk about some of the challenges that you've had along the way. So you were clearly affected by COVID. Um, what's been your biggest learning through the last, well, 20 years?
Well, I'd say reaching out for help. You definitely have to do that when you're a business owner. I would say, like we said, the biggest challenge I have, I've had a lot of challenges, all businesses do, especially when you're running a school. You've got health and safety to think of as well. You've got couple of years, some business rule comes in from the government or elsewhere, or you've got to constantly be up to date with what the legislation is.
Yeah.
And it can be quite frightening knowing that you could end up in prison at any moment because you haven't followed a rule properly. You lose a lot of sleeplessness. So I think the biggest thing I've learned is actually, like I said, the last couple of weeks going on this course and realizing I can't do it all by myself. And I probably need to take on a coach for myself who can be separate to the business. And I have been a bit like, no, what can they teach me? I know myself, I know my business, they're not going to know my business. So that has been, I think, a bit of a learning curve for me, not be so arrogant about it, I suppose, and to
Yeah.
learn from other people.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge, like I said, I've had lots of challenges, but definitely the COVID. Um, like I said, I managed to fill up we've got 7 branches throughout London of kids' schools. We had 17 evening classes for adults.
Wow.
I had about 500 students. I lost every single student overnight because of the lockdown. And the fees were due in 2 to 3 weeks later. And I still had to pay for all my staff. I had so many, could be freelance staff. So obviously they couldn't go furlough. So I don't think I've cried so much in all my life. And I was like working 8 in the morning to 10 p.m. at night trying to save the business. Um, and then I managed to get the COVID disruption loan, which was a lifesaver. And the Arts Council also gave me a recovery grant. So without that, I don't know what would have happened. I would have made it work. I know me. Yeah, I'd probably be a lot more grey than I am now.
I, I have to
But so the
say,
COVID loan again was, yeah, a lifesaver. But ironically, it's still, as much as I'm grateful for it, it is still a noose around my neck because I've got another year and a half that I have to pay back this COVID loan,
yeah,
which is an extra £4,000 a month I have to find
yeah,
to on top of everything else. So it means all my energy is going into that rather than raising money for bursaries for children.
yeah,
So it's still a challenge.
yeah,
But again, going on this last week, I realised actually, why don't I look into refinancing that COVID loan? That will free up some cash. That will mean I might sleep a little better at night. I'll be able to support my staff. So it's
yeah,
again, it's learning not to be afraid of what's the word? Debt, as long as it's good debt and as long as I get myself some good advice about it. I've always been nervous about taking loans out.
yeah.
And the fact that we've managed to get as far as we have done without taking loans out is a miracle.
Yeah.
So can you imagine what I could do if I did get investment? So yeah, that's been a big learning curve for me.
So to summarize that, what you're saying is to be open-minded, to your biggest learnings about being open-minded, to expose yourself to other thinking, to learn, to keep on learning inside the business. And I have to say, your resilience is amazing. I mean, many businesses obviously went through some terrible times during COVID, absolutely horrendous. You've come out the other side, you've rebuilt the business, you're expanding it, you've got different offerings, you've pivoted in the right way. You're still doing something really powerful for the community, and you're delivering for businesses. You're improving team performance inside businesses. I think that's really commendable. I mean, yeah, that's the true sense of being a challenger, right? Being a challenger is about standing up to, is about seeing opportunity and then standing up to it, to the challenges that are coming at you, getting through them, and then pushing on and finding your place. And your passion is fantastic. Your passion has clearly driven you through these hard times. Um, is there anything else aside of your passion that's kept you going?
I think having a good team around me. So, for example, Rhiannon Mosson, who manages my schools and she manages a theatrical agency, been with me for 16 years. So she's been through it all with me as well. And she is so committed and she keeps me grounded as well. Like I will sometimes have these business ideas, but she'll be like, no, about our families. She's very great at looking at the bigger picture from that and her hard work.
Yeah.
Davinia Powell, for example, who is my stage in the city manager. So she looks after the adults. She's been with me. She just started just before the pandemic started. So, she believes in my mission as well. So I think having a dedicated staff team who also believe in our ethos, because we are a not-for-profit organisation. I'm not paying corporate wages as much as I'd love to, but they really believe and they're getting something out of it as well. And obviously all my freelance teachers, there are too many, I can't pick individual ones, but just their passion, the support I've got from people like Carrier Marketing, do my marketing, my SEO, my Facebook adverts, for example. My bookkeeper that I brought on during the pandemic, Contando, have been absolutely amazing, helping me with cash flows and always. So having a good team around you is priceless.
Yeah, absolutely it is. So one last question, Anna. If you could go back in time to right at the beginning of the business, is there one thing you would have done differently?
Yes, I think I wouldn't have been afraid of investment from the start.
Okay.
I think I could probably be 3 times the size of what I'm now, if not more, if I hadn't been frightened of that in the beginning. I think I've been running it for the last 23 years, always chasing my tail, firefighting.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if I'd had the right investment, I would have had time to breathe. And ironically, despite the stress that COVID brought me, as soon as I got that £180,000 loan in my bank account, even though I knew I had to be really careful with it and it had to last, and I knew we only had an amount of time to pay it back. The relief I felt that evening, and it gave me some breathing space in my head.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I would have done differently. I think I would have gone to get proper advice from business coaches, and so that didn't feel like I was on my own managing this, and get some, have a look at various ways that I could get investment for the business.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Well, it's been a fascinating conversation. I can see what you are doing is so important for young people, for the community, for people's careers. I can see that's driven by passion, which is there's no better why in any business. I often speak to businesses, and one of the big questions I have for them is, what gets you out of bed in the morning? What's your why? Your why is really obvious. And what you're doing for businesses and how you're empowering them and working with their staff to do very enjoyable experience that's going to help them with presenting, with being out in the world. That's also super powerful, super important. So Anna, look, I'm really want to keep in contact with you, find out what's going on with the business. I suspect in 2 or 3 years' time, you may have a very, very sizable operation, but I'd love to keep in contact through that whole journey. So, Anna, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you. You are indeed a challenger. Thank you. Bye bye.
Very much.